a homeless woman as Mrs. Davenport at Daniel's wedding. Alex, are you trying to turn your brother's big day into a farce? Or are you just so desperate you had to pick someone up off the street to deal with Mom? The words, laced with sarcasm and disbelief, came from his own brother Daniel, the very person Alex Davenport was trying to protect from unnecessary trouble. They hit him like a splash of cold water as he was attempting to explain the presence of his mysterious girlfriend, Olivia Liv Parker. The pressure to have a perfect partner for the high society family wedding had pushed the brilliant CEO of Davenport Industries into a preposterous situation, a gamble never knowing that this homeless woman concealed an extraordinary talent and a past full of surprises. Now, amidst the luxurious ambiance of the Connecticut resort, where romantic melodies of love filled the air, the CEO and wife charade was not just to keep up appearances, but the beginning of a series of fateful discoveries and unforeseen emotions. My brother Daniel, my beloved younger brother whom I've always fiercely protected, is getting married this weekend. The entire Davenport clan is ecstatic and busy preparing for the momentous event. And of course, the eternal question has been posed to me, Alexander Davenport, the 43-year-old still single CEO of Davenport Industries. What about you, Alex? When are you going to bring someone home to meet the family? You can't stay single forever. I truly can't stand it anymore. The pitying, scrutinizing gazes, the not-so-subtle prodding from my mother, my aunts, and my uncles. I need a girlfriend, even a fake one, for what is forecasted to be a weekend of living hell. Alexander. Alex Davenport sighed, looking at the exquisitely designed wedding invitation resting on his gleaming mahogany desk, his mind weighed down by schemes and an unnamed exhaustion. The reason Alex Davenport needed a fake wife wasn't for a lucrative business deal or an important partner. This time, the pressure came from within his own family, from the silent but incredibly heavy expectations of his loved ones. His brother Daniel Davenport, a talented and warm-hearted architect, was about to marry Chloe Anderson, a beautiful girl from a wealthy family adored by everyone. Daniel's wedding would be a massive event, gathering a large crowd of relatives, close friends, and important business partners of the Davenport family. And Alex, as the eldest brother and the primary heir to Davenport Industries, couldn't possibly show up alone amidst that warm, joyful atmosphere without becoming the center of gossip, prying questions, and enthusiastic and annoying matchmaking attempts from his aunts. He wanted a perfect shield, a way to enjoy, or at least endure, his family's grand celebration as peacefully as possible. He didn't want his solitude to inadvertently cast a shadow over his brother's happy day. The decision was made at the last minute, just a few short days before the wedding. In a moment of sheer desperation, while driving through an old, quiet neighborhood after a stressful day at work, Alex happened upon Olivia Liv Parker. She was sitting alone on a public park bench, clutching a worn-out backpack, her gaze distant. Her face was a bit haggard, but it couldn't hide her delicate features. A crazy, reckless idea sparked in Alex's mind. He would hire this homeless woman to play the part of his girlfriend, perhaps even his fiancée, for the duration of Daniel's wedding festivities. A few days later, at a luxurious resort nestled among the lush green hills of rural Connecticut, where the fairy tale wedding of Daniel Davenport and Chloe Anderson was taking place, Alex appeared with his mysterious girlfriend, Olivia Liv Parker. Initially, when he made the offer to Liv, Alex just needed someone presentable, someone who could play the part for a few short days. But after a lightning-fast transformation by the team of professional stylists, Alex had secretly hired, or perhaps with the help of a close friend in the fashion industry, Liv Parker had become stunningly beautiful and captivating, a beauty entirely different from the weary, tired image Alex had seen in the park. The initial disheveled, lifeless appearance had vanished, completely replaced by a natural, elegant beauty with a touch of mystery. Her dark brown hair, now washed blown out and styled into soft waves, highlighted the delicate features of her oval face. Her large, round, deep blue eyes, lightly made up, seemed even more profound, intelligent, and shone with a gentle allure. She wore a simple yet exquisite pastel blue silk dress that gently hugged her well-proportioned, though slightly thin figure, exuding a special aura, a stark contrast to the typical wealthy socialites seen at high society parties. Alex's arrival with his beautiful and mysterious girlfriend immediately drew the attention of the family and all the guests. Daniel and Chloe, the bride and groom, were surprised, but also delighted. Their difficult older brother had finally opened his heart. Chloe, with her friendly and open nature, quickly warmed up to Liv and seemed to genuinely like her. Mrs. Eleanor Davenport, Alex and Daniel's mother, a true matriarch with an elegant, refined appearance and sharp, discerning eyes, was initially stunned and thoroughly scrutinized her eldest son's surprise girlfriend. She couldn't believe that Alex, always so private about his love life, could have been hiding such a beautiful and charismatic woman. She asked a few probing questions, but Liv, with her intelligence and a touch of natural acting, answered deftly, leaving no room for suspicion. The other guests whispered amongst themselves, their eyes filled with curiosity and admiration, trying to figure out who this mysterious and charming woman was, and why no one had ever heard of her existence in the life of the famous CEO Alexander Davenport. Throughout the wedding events, from the intimate bachelor party the night before, to the family meet and greet, to the official ceremony in a historic church, and the lavish evening reception, Liv Parker, despite some initial awkwardness and unfamiliarity with the opulent atmosphere, displayed a surprising intelligence, tact, and knowledge that far exceeded Alex's expectations. She didn't just act the part of a beautiful girlfriend, she truly integrated into conversations, winning everyone over with her grace, sophistication, and a warm heart. And then, at the reception after the wedding, when the atmosphere was joyful and romantic, and everyone was raising a glass to the happy couple, something unexpected happened, an event that stunned the entire hall, and once again drew all attention to the reluctant Mrs. Davenport. The band was playing smooth jazz when suddenly the grand piano in the corner experienced a technical issue, leaving the pianist flustered. The joyful mood suddenly faltered. At that exact moment, Olivia Liv Parker, after whispering something to Alex, slowly walked up to the stage. She gave the pianist a gentle smile, then sat down at the piano. And then her long, graceful fingers began to dance across the ivory keys. A beautiful, classical melody. A Mozart sonata rang out, clear, melodic, and full of emotion. The entire room held its breath, silenced by admiration. No one could have imagined that Alex Davenport's mysterious girlfriend, this seemingly fragile and gentle woman, could play the piano with such divine, masterful skill. Her playing wasn't just technically perfect, it contained a deep soul, a burning passion. Alex Davenport stood in a corner of the room just as stunned as everyone else. He couldn't believe his eyes or his ears. The fake wife he had hastily hired from a park, the woman he thought was merely a homeless person in need of help, turned out to be a pianist of this caliber. Could she really be a forgotten musical genius? A hidden gem? The biggest question now was, who was Olivia Liv Parker really? What had driven a talented artist like her to homelessness? And what other surprises would this CEO and wife charade bring? The image of Liv Parker at the piano, her skilled fingers gliding over the keys, creating melodies that captivated every heart, became one of the most memorable moments of Daniel and Chloe's wedding. But for Alex Davenport, it was a profound shock, a startling discovery about the woman he had only rented to play his girlfriend. Rewind to a few days earlier when Alex was driving in a state of desperation from family pressure. He had seen Liv Parker sitting alone on a worn-out bench in a small, quiet park on the outskirts of the city. She was engrossed in a tattered book, occasionally looking up with a wistful, melancholic gaze. Though her clothes were old and her hair was a bit messy, there was something about her, a quiet stillness, a hidden elegance that caught Alex's attention. Pressed for time and at his wit's end, Alex took a risk. He walked up, introduced himself, and got straight to the point. He explained that he desperately needed a girlfriend to attend his brother's wedding with him that weekend, a major family event. He promised to pay her a handsome sum, $15,000, for 3 days of acting and would cover all her expenses for travel accommodation and wardrobe. Liv Parker, after a moment of stunned disbelief at this insane and somewhat insulting offer, initially refused outright. She wasn't the type to sell her dignity for money. But then, seeing the sincerity and a hint of desperation in Alex's eyes, and more importantly, considering her own dire circumstances, she truly needed the money not just to get by, but for a very important purpose she couldn't yet reveal. Liv decided to accept the bizarre proposal. Their terms were simple and clear. Liv would play the part of Alex's girlfriend, even his fiancée, for the 3 days of the wedding events. She would be provided with all the necessary information about the Davenport family, including the do's and don'ts of interacting with everyone. She had to play her role as naturally as possible. After the wedding, the contract would end. She would receive the agreed-upon sum, and they would go their separate ways with no further contact. Olivia, Liv Parker's past, was a series of mysteries that even Alex, in his short time with her, had only begun to scratch the surface of. Through fragmented stories Liv accidentally revealed in moments of vulnerability, or through her troubled dreams and the fleeting sadness in her eyes, Alex gradually sensed that this woman was anything but simple. She was once a talented pianist, a musical prodigy from a very young age. She had performed in grand concert halls, won prestigious awards, and had an incredibly bright future ahead of her. But then, a great tragedy struck, a painful event, perhaps the sudden death of a loved one, a cruel betrayal, or a scheme by those jealous of her talent that caused her to lose everything: her career, her reputation, her family, and her faith in life. She had given up the piano, abandoned music, and chosen a life of wandering and seclusion as a way to escape her painful past. Her talents, her knowledge, and her artistic temperament seemed completely at odds with her current situation as a destitute homeless woman. There was something contradictory, something mysterious about Olivia Parker that made Alex irresistibly curious to learn more. After signing the contract, Alex took Liv to a luxurious apartment he had prepared near the wedding resort. He also hired a professional styling team to take care of and transform Liv. During this crash course, as Alex provided Liv with information about the Davenport family, their hobbies, personalities, and things to be mindful of, he began to notice very special things about this woman. Liv not only absorbed information quickly, but also possessed an incredibly keen sense of observation, making sharp remarks and asking intelligent questions. It seemed she had an innate sensitivity to human psychology and an astonishing ability to adapt. Liv, for her part, also began to form her first impressions of Alexander Davenport. He wasn't as cold, distant, and work-obsessed as he appeared. Behind the success and power was a man with his own pressures, his own hidden sorrows, and perhaps a warm heart that no one had yet discovered. She felt a certain respect from him, even though she was just hired help. Between them, despite their brief acquaintance, moments of awkwardness, humorous laughter, and a vague sense of empathy, an invisible connection that neither could yet name, began to emerge. The CEO and wife charade had only just begun, but it seemed fate had much more surprising and interesting plans in store than either of them could have imagined. After her stunning and shocking piano performance at Daniel and Chloe's wedding reception, Olivia Liv Parker suddenly became the center of all attention, gossip, and admiration. Alexander Alex Davenport, though completely astonished by his fake wife's extraordinary musical talent, couldn't help but feel an indescribable sense of pride. He had hired a homeless woman, and she had turned out to be a hidden gem. In the following days of the wedding festivities, from an intimate family-only dinner to a cheerful outing with the bride and groom's close friends, Liv Parker continued to shine in her own unique way, far exceeding the requirements of her role. She was not only beautiful and graceful, but also displayed sharp intelligence and tact in conversation, along with a surprisingly deep knowledge of many subjects. When speaking with Mrs. Eleanor Davenport Alex's mother, who was known for her shrewdness and strict standards, Liv showed no signs of hesitation or awkwardness. She listened attentively, answered questions intelligently and subtly, and could even share fascinating insights on classical literature and art history, subjects Eleanor was passionate about. Gradually, Eleanor's initial scrutiny was replaced by curiosity, then a touch of fondness, and finally an unconcealed admiration. When talking with Chloe, the new bride, whose personality was open and friendly, Liv became a confidant, a gentle older sister. She offered sincere advice, warm encouragement, and even helped Chloe resolve a few minor issues with her honeymoon preparations, demonstrating a kindness and a remarkable ability to handle situations with finesse. Even with the most discerning guests, the major business partners of the Davenport clan Liv made an excellent impression with her charm, politeness, and impressive knowledge. She could discuss the global economic situation with a tycoon, the latest tech trends with a leading expert, or even fine wines with a seasoned collector. Alex Davenport found himself increasingly captivated by this woman. He realized that Olivia Parker was not just a temporary solution for his family pressures. She was a truly special woman, possessing captivating beauty, a sharp intellect, a rich artistic soul, and a kind heart. He began to feel real powerful emotions for her feelings he hadn't experienced in a very long time. In their rare private moments when no one was around and they could temporarily drop their act, Alex and Liv had deeper, more sincere conversations. Alex grew more curious about Liv's past, the secrets she was hiding, and the reasons that had pushed a talented pianist like her into homelessness. Liv, initially still guarded and wary, gradually opened up in the face of Alex's sincerity and the hint of vulnerability in his eyes. She told him about her childhood musical dreams, her early successes, and the great tragedy of her life, the sudden death of her father, who was also her teacher and only confidant in a mysterious car accident. This was followed by the betrayal of her manager, who cheated her out of her small inheritance, plunging her into debt, and forcing her to give up the piano, her life's greatest passion. She had been living a nomadic hidden life, not because she couldn't support herself, but because she wanted to run from the ghosts of her past, from the pain and despair. Alex's empathy and compassion for Liv grew stronger. He wanted to help her not just because of the contract or his initial curiosity, but because of a genuine affection, a deep connection that was blossoming between two kindred spirits from opposite worlds. Alex was completely won over by the strength, extraordinary resilience, and beautiful soul, untarnished by the injustices of fate that lay beneath Liv's somewhat fragile exterior. He realized she was the woman he had been subconsciously searching for, all along, someone who could understand him, share with him, and bring him a sense of true peace and happiness. Liv, initially full of caution and insecurity about her current situation, also began to sense the sincerity, kindness, and even the endearing qualities, perhaps his clumsiness in matters of the heart, the loneliness behind his cold facade of Alex Davenport. She found a sense of safety and respect in him that she hadn't felt in a very long time. She started to believe that perhaps fate had brought him to her for a reason, not just by chance. Romantic moments, genuine gestures of care, and words from the heart began to appear more frequently between them, moving beyond the confines of a role or a contract. A true love, though still hesitant and facing challenges, seemed to have begun to sprout between two imperfect people who had found in each other a kindred spirit and new hope. The wedding festivities for Daniel and Chloe finally came to an end. The fake wife contract between Alex Davenport and Olivia Liv Parker was also due to conclude, but the feelings that had developed between them seemed to be just beginning. However, their path to happiness was anything but smooth. Mrs. Eleanor Davenport, after her very positive initial impressions of her son's talented and charming girlfriend, now grew worried and suspicious upon learning partially or fully the truth about Liv's previous homeless situation and Alex's scheme to hire a fake wife. She was an upper-class woman who had always prioritized the reputation and status of the Davenport family. She could not accept her son, the heir to a massive fortune, having a serious relationship with a woman of unknown origins, someone with a complicated past, and a background that was not socially suitable. She feared it would damage the family's prestige, Alex's business, and the future of the Davenport lineage. Eleanor had private, frank, and rather harsh conversations with Alex, demanding that he reconsider and end this inappropriate relationship. She even tried to pressure Liv, making hurtful remarks and advising her to know her place and stay away from Alex. Alex faced an incredibly difficult choice. On one side was the mother he loved and respected deeply, who had dedicated her life to building his career. On the other was Olivia Parker, the woman he had truly fallen in love with, who had brought him feelings he thought he had lost forever. But this time, Alex Davenport was no longer a son who would blindly obey his mother's arrangements. His love for Liv gave him strength, decisiveness, and the courage to fight for his own happiness. He confronted his mother, directly expressing his sincere feelings for Liv and affirming that she was the woman he wanted to spend his life with, regardless of her circumstances or past. He did not hesitate to defend Liv from the attacks and scrutiny of others. Daniel and Chloe, the newlyweds, after learning the entire dramatic yet romantic story of their brother, became his most enthusiastic allies. They stood by Alex and Liv, offering encouragement and support, helping them navigate the difficulties and obstacles from the family and societal prejudice. As for Liv, despite facing immense pressure challenges and even contempt from Eleanor, she maintained her composure, dignity, and a strong belief in Alex's love. She was not weak or dependent. On the contrary, she became a source of encouragement and a steadfast pillar of emotional support for Alex during his toughest moments. She also tried to win over her future mother-in-law's heart with her sincerity, kindness, and talent. And it was during this trying period that a surprising secret about Liv Parker's past, a secret that could completely change the situation, and Eleanor Davenport's attitude began to be revealed. Perhaps Liv's late father, the talented but ill-fated pianist, was the childhood best friend of Alex's late grandfather, a man his grandfather always spoke of with immense respect and regret. Or perhaps the precious painting Liv always carried with her as a final family memento was a masterpiece the Davenport family had been searching for years, a piece with a very special meaning to Eleanor. The ghosts of the past, those who had once harmed Liv's family, might also reappear threatening her and Alex's budding happiness. And once again, they would have to face them together, fighting to protect their love and seek justice. After all the turmoil, trials, and misunderstandings, the love between Alexander, Alex Davenport, and Olivia Liv Parker was proven to be true, a love that could overcome all barriers of social status, all family prejudices, and all schemes to tear them apart. And then the unexpected ending truly arrived. A truth was revealed that completely changed Eleanor Davenport's attitude and everyone's perception of Olivia Liv Parker. It turned out she was the sole surviving granddaughter of a genius French composer, a man whom Alex's late grandfather, an art collector and an ardent music lover, had deeply admired and had spent years searching for his lost works. The small portrait Liv always carried a picture of her late father was accidentally recognized by Eleanor during a visit. And the classical pieces Liv had played so brilliantly at Daniel's wedding were the timeless compositions of her maternal grandfather, melodies the Davenport family had cherished and preserved as priceless heirlooms. When the truth came out, Eleanor Davenport went from staunch opposition to feeling deeply moved and even a bit remorseful. She realized that Liv Parker was not just a homeless girl of unknown origin, but the descendant of a talented artistic family, a person with a respectable past and a noble soul. And most importantly, she saw the genuine love her son had for Liv, a love that had changed Alex in an incredibly positive way. Finally, Eleanor was completely won over. She not only accepted Liv as her daughter-in-law, but also came to love her like her own daughter, fully supporting her in recovering her family's musical legacy and pursuing her artistic career. After the storm had passed, long after the fake wife contract had ended and become an unforgettable memory, Alex Davenport and Olivia Liv Parker officially acknowledged their love for each other, a love tested and forged through countless difficulties. They decided to build a serious relationship, a future together, not because of family pressure or any role, but purely for true love for the harmony of two souls who had found each other in the currents of life. Eleanor and the entire Davenport family finally gave them their full acceptance and heartfelt blessing. 1 year after Alex and Liv officially became a couple, they had a real wedding not in a historic church or a lavish resort, but in a small, cozy classical music hall in New York, where Liv had her first solo piano concert after years of abandoning the instrument. It was a simple, yet incredibly romantic wedding, filled with music and love, blessed by family, friends, and those who admired her talent. Liv Parker, with Alex's unwavering help and support, rebuilt her life brilliantly. She not only regained financial stability, but also pursued her burning passion for music. She became a beloved concert pianist, with her concerts always selling out. She also established a scholarship fund in her father's name to help young, underprivileged musical talents. She was no longer the homeless woman of yesteryear, but a confident, strong, and happy woman who brought joy and inspiration to everyone around her. Alex Davenport, while continuing to successfully run Davenport Industries, was now a completely different man. He was warmer, more open, knew how to balance work and personal life, and above all was a husband who deeply loved and cherished his talented partner. The story of Alexander Alex Davenport and Olivia Liv Parker concludes with them holding hands, looking toward a bright future woven from the sweet melodies of love and the delightful surprises of fate. It is a testament that sometimes the most unexpected decisions and the most fateful encounters can lead to a true love and a blissful happiness beyond imagination, a happiness that transcends all barriers and prejudices of society. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit like, share this story with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more meaningful stories.